Silent Dancing, APartial Rememberance of a Puerto Rican Childhood by Judith Ortiz Cofer. Judith Ortiz Cofer was one of the leading women writers of the Puerto Rican experience in the U.S. She was born on February 24, 1952, in the small town of Hormigueros, a locality famous since 12th century for being the site of what is today the Basilica of Dark-Skinned Virgin of Montserrat in Puerto Rico. Her parents migrated to the U.S. in 1955 and settled in Paterson, New Jersey, joining what was then a growing Puerto Rican community in that city. She spent most of her childhood and adolescence in Paterson before her family moved to the state of Georgia. It was there that she went to college and received an undergraduate degree in English from Augusta College. A few years later, she married and moved to Florida, where she completed a master's degree at Florida Atlantic University. Being the daughter of a Navy father stationed in New Jersey, but who was frequently away at sea, and a uprooted mother always nostalgic for her beloved island, the entire family became travelers. Judith spent most of her childhood and adolescence community between Hormigueros and Paterson. This back-and-forth movement between two cultures and languages became a vital part of Ortiz Cofer's poetry, fiction, and narrative essays. Judith's first published works were poetry collections, and in recognition of her prominent, prolific, and critically acclaimed career as a fiction and non-fiction prose writer, poet, essayist, and university professor, Ortiz Cofer was inducted into the Georgia Writers Hall of Fame in 2012. Unfortunately, Judith died on December 29, 2016, at the age of 62. At her country home outside Louisville, slightly more than a year after the publication of her last book. This book, Silent Dancing, begins with Judith's early life, which was shaped by her father's decision, who joined the Navy before her birth and relocated the family to Paterson, New Jersey. During his naval duties, which took him away for extended periods, the family would return to Puerto Rico, preserving their connection to the island. Despite her father's encouragement to embrace American culture and integrate into a broader society, her mother's heart remained tethered to Puerto Rico, embodying a quiet melancholy that permeates the book. The memoir is structured around pivotal experiences beginning with Judith's birth. Her journey through adolescence is marked by traditional milestones, such as quinceañera, a symbolic rite of passage for young girls stepping into womanhood. Essays like Mama and the Last Word delved into the sad memories of early pilgrimages back to Puerto Rico, highlighting the emotionality and cultural continuity. This is a rather loose collection of cuentos, or stories, by a person of two very different worlds. As could be expected, Judith Ortiz grew up with split loyalties regarding her parents and the different cultural groups in which she lived. These accounts of her exposure and reaction to her experiences make up the entire narrative of Silent Dancing. The book is a remembrance that abounds with fascinating tales told by Judith Ortiz Cofer's grandmother, whom everyone called Mama. Silent Dancing chronicles the development of an artist. Judith Ortiz, the writer, draws from the grandmother's legacy as a storyteller, crafting her own narrative to reflect the broader Puerto Rican experience. Through this role, she reimagines what it means to be a Puerto Rican, savoring her insight and stories with an expansive audience. What Judith gives us, the readers, in this book is not a chronicle of her life, but a reclamation of significant memories that connect herself to the threads of lives that have touched her memories. After reading this book, the reader clearly understands that her divided loyalties have been somewhat resolved. The book ends on the observations of the mature Judith. However, She has helped us to remember and understand a rich and exciting culture that is fast disappearing, along with all the other old cultures in the world. The Nuyorican and Hispanic literature. Thanks for watching.